A very good morning, everyone. I am Dr. Neha Dubey, presenting the topic of barriers to change attitude. Means what are the things which are preventing to change our attitudes? So it is the continuation topic of my previous two lectures of attitude. So let's continue with the barriers. Employees' attitude can be changed, and sometimes it is in the best interest of a management to try to do so. For example, if the employees believe that their employer doesn't look after their welfare, the management should try to change employees' attitude and develop a more positive attitude towards them so that the image or the attitude towards the organization is become good from the employees. However, the process of changing the attitude is not always so much easy. Actually, what are the barriers? What are the things which limits to prevent the organizations from achieving its predetermined goals? So the every organization should be aware of these and should take corrective actions. Here are the certain barriers which create the limitations to change the attitudes. First one is the prior commitment. If the employees or the employer or anyone is having the prior commitment towards their family, towards the organization, towards their social life or anything xyz, so the prior commitment becomes a barrier, one of the barrier to change their attitude, which has to be required in current situation. Insufficient information. It is the very, very big barrier. Like if the information is not provided in a proper format, not in a complete form, so that the person or the individual is not able to convince themselves to change their attitude. Why we are change our attitude? I'm right, yeah, definitely. But if I'm convinced with the proper information and the sufficient information, so I'm ready to start by changing my attitude. Balance and consistency. Of course, the balance and consistency is much required, because if the consistency is rare, so we are ready to change our attitude. Lack of resources. The resources are not proper or rare, so it will also become one of the barrier to change in our attitude. Improper reward system. It is the biggest barrier or the biggest limitation, because if someone is doing very much hard work and they are not getting the recognition or any reward from the employer side, so they get frustrated, so their attitude, means the positive attitude, becomes maybe negative, or attitude is starting to become negative towards the organization. And resistance to change. Every human being have a certain resistance towards the change. They are not easily wanted to change themselves because they thought that they are right. So it is also the biggest barrier. Now, how to change attitude? कैसे चेंज किया जा सकता है? Now there are the ways of a changing attitude. New information will help to change attitudes. Informations in a proper way will definitely helps to change the attitude. Means in our family also, the elder ones or the senior citizens who are living in our family, means our grandparents, they are not ready to accept the change. But if we give proper information or new information in a right format, with the convincing power, or in a proper relations development, so that they are ready to change their attitude. Negative attitudes are mainly formed owing to insufficient information, as I told you in a previous slide. Attitude may change through direct experience. Attitude definitely means if we experience the good thing, so maybe towards certain situations, means prejudicially I am thinking that, oh, my attitude is negative, or I'm thinking about that experience is negative, but due to the sudden good feelings, I changed my attitude. So it is based on the direct experience. Another way in which attitude can be changed is by resolving discrepancies between the attitudes and the behavior. If we resolve the loopholes, or what are the reasons, or what are the reasons to think like that, so the attitude can be changed. Attitude change of attitude can come through the persuasion of the friends or peers. Peers and friends will also help us to change our attitude. Attitude may change through the legislations. Since a person's attitude are anchored in his membership group and reference group, one way to change the attitude is to modify one or the others. And fear can change their attitude. If the low levels of fear are used, people often ignore them. And higher level, so they are compulsorily has to be changed attitude. Changing the attitude differs regarding the situations also. Now the functions of attitude. Four major functions are there: adjustment functions, ego defensive function, knowledge function, and the value expressive functions. So again, one by one, we discuss the things. Adjustment functions. Daniel Katz outlines these four functions. Attitude often help people to adjust to their work environment. When people are well treated, they are likely to develop a positive attitude toward the management and the organization. When employees are criticized and given a minimal salary, and they are likely to develop a negative attitude towards the management and organization. It is the common thing. These attitudes help employees adjust to their environment and are a basis for future behavior. The adjustment function direct people towards pleasurable and rewarding object and away from unpleasant, undesirable ones. It serves the utilitarian concept of a maximizing reward and the minimizing punishment. Thus, the attitude of a consumer depend to a large degree on their perception of what is needed, satisfying, and what is punishing. So this is the adjustment function. It is, in summarize, we can say that every human being or every individual has a tendency to adjust as per the situation. But if we are doing certain work and we get reward, so we develop the positive attitude towards that. And if we punished or if we are not recognized by the our employer or we are not understood by the employer side, so we can develop our negative attitudes. Now the ego defensive attitude. The ego defensive function refers to holding the attitude that protect our self-esteem or that justify actions that make us feel guilty. This function involves psychoanalytic principle where people use defense mechanism to protect themselves from psychological harm. Mechanisms include denial, repression, projection, and rationalization, etc. This is the ego defensive function. Now, the value expressive function. Whereas ego defensive attitude are formed to protect a person's self-image. Okay, so once the ego defensive function is working towards the protecting the person's self-image, value expressive attitude enable the expression of the person's centrally held values. They can express their values. And the central values tend to establish our identity and gain us social approval, thereby showing us who we are and what we stand for. Some attitudes are important to a person because they express values that are integral to that person's self-concepts. And therefore, the consumer adopts certain attitude to translate their values into something more tangible and easily expressed. Means we are also in many companies are also play with the values of the consumer. Means playing means they are identifying the values of the consumers and what is important for them, so they put it in an advertisement form of their products so that they can develop the positive attitude toward their product and the consumer can buy and satisfy with that product. And the functions of attitude, it is the last function, the knowledge function. The knowledge function refers to our need which is consistent and relatively stable. This allows us to predict what is likely to happen and so gives us a sense of control. The some attitudes are useful because they help to make the world more understandable. They help people ascribe causes to events and direct attention towards features of people or situation that are likely to be useful in making sense of them. Consequently, they help to make the world more understandable, predictable, and knowledgeable. Knowing a person's attitude helps us to predict their behavior. If means it is a very simple that if we know about certain behavior of that person, or if I'm very much having the friendship in a with the certain person, so definitely I am having the knowledge or information about their behavior, so it is easy to make me understand or the predict about what kind of a behavior they will do in particular situation. For example, people who are not familiar with the nuclear energy may develop an attitude that is dangerous and should not be used as an energy source. So the what is the thing here, if the information or the knowledge about the thing is there, so the attitude can be different. So again, this is complete from my side, and the attitude part is completely finished here. And we will meet you in a next lecture series with a new topic. Thank you. Have a nice day. Stay safe. Stay at home. Stay healthy. Take care of yourself and your family. Thank you. Have a nice day.